here, I would like to pass it off to Evan, who's going to get to the good stuff. I do the talk, and he does the showing.
Great, thanks, Daniel. So can you just pass maybe the screen sharing to me, and then we can get started. Thanks. So just like to reiterate, what we're going to be doing today is, as Daniel said, there are those solutions that are. So pause my screen for a second. There are those solutions that are able to deal with enterprise level deployments where are very technical. You need a lot of infrastructure in place, and there's those solutions that are more agile and can make it easy for business users to analyze data on their own terms when they need to. What we're going to show you in this demo is how we can provide both a flexible solution, one that enables you to work with a large data set and an end user to work with a large data set. And what I'm going to do is show you a little bit about the machine specifications, talk a little bit about the Elasticube, and then walk through actually going and doing a demo. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Okay, so you should now be all being able to see this is just the machine setup where we have over here. This is an Amazon machine that we set it up on. You can see the CPU. We've got 32 cores, roughly about 128 gigabytes of RAM on this machine. You can see we're using roughly half of that. So this is the machine setup. Obviously, it's different and it depends on each data source that you're using. And what we'll look at is over here we have the Elasticube server, so we can see that this cube is roughly 170 gigabytes of data that's running on the machine, and we're going to use this for our analysis. Okay, so we can just open up the Elasticube Manager to see the table. So we can see this table has, we're going to dig into it and show it's got a billion rows, but you can see there's many columns and a lot of data on this. And this is what we're going to be using for today's demo. So the actual design environment is web-based. Over here you can see the web environment. It's on a local machine, so you can see it says local over here. And we're going to start working with the data. So the first thing we can do is I'm just going to select the data, and we can see all the available fields within that table that I showed you earlier. And we're going to do a complex calculation. So we're going to do a unique count, which actually counts each different individual value. Instead of count all, to show you that there are already a billion records over here. And what this is a hit ID is just a unique identifier for somebody on a website. And if we do a unique count, we'll see there's a billion rows. It's just an abbreviation, but I'll show you the actual figure. So if we just take off the abbreviated values, it's just a setting in Sisense, we can see we've got over a billion rows, so roughly 1,250,000 records. So it's a large data set that we're working. And again, this is a heavy calculation. And what we're going to do is to continue to actually add a new widget over here. So I can add a different calculation. In this case, I'm going to take a categorical data. So over here we've got the age range. And I'm going to combine that with another field over here, a different calculation. In this case, we can use just a sum, a total of revenue. And we can see all the different records. So we've got large tens of millions of rows here. We can choose to visualize that data how we want, and then to just create the widget. So you can see now, again, two visualizations. These are, again, going over billions of rows of records, two different queries that are being visualized here. We're going to continue to work. So let's take another example over here. We can select the data and go to the date. We can see we've got different time settings and calculations. In this case, we're going to take months and see that there's quite a few years of data here, ranging from 2009 to 2011. And again, we're going to do another complex, quite a heavy calculation on this. So over here, we can go back to the hit ID, and we can do a unique count of that. Okay, so this is a complex calculation over time, and we can see how that's progressing. Again, this is a web environment. You can see I'm not doing any coding or scripting, and you can see over here we've got 50 million rows per month of data that's being calculated, and we can add that to our dashboard. We can do one last widget to add, just so that we've got quite a few. And again, these queries are each going over those billion row data set. In this case, we're going to look at revenue again and simply segment that by another field. In this case, we can do a numeric field where we can do the day of the week. And we'll see once that's in, we can take all the items. We're going to just turn that into a nice column chart. And we can see again, this data is visualizing very easily. We have a large, the majority is on a Monday and day one, and then we can go forward. And another thing that you want to do, obviously, is be able to filter data. You don't always want to be able to work with a large data set. So we're going to add some filters to it to segment the data. So over here, we can filter. And choose specific year filter, and just choose 2012 in the dates, and add that in over there. Okay. Again, you can see all the widgets are updating based on that. We can interact with the widgets, select a specific age range, so it creates a filter, select a time period, okay, and also be able to dig into the data. So if I wanted, let's say, after it's visualized, go into it and drill into a specific segment, I can do that, be able to go into, let's say, the age range and get that actually visualized. Let's take a second. Okay, great. So again, it creates a flexible environment. You can see this is a lot of data that we're working with, a lot of different filters, a lot of different visualizations that we're using over here. It's not something that's easy to do. It's complex, but with the right environment, Sisense definitely supports this and enables you to analyze a very big data set in a very easy and quick way and provide something that's agile to end users. If we just want to make a quick look maybe on the resource utilization over here, you can see you're only touching roughly 10% of the CPU and half of the memory, so it's not like we've just loaded everything into memory. It is an efficient architecture on how to actually work with the data and that environment. So this is an example that we thought would be good to show you and step you through how we can easily visualize a billion rows of data in using Sisense. I'm just going to stop at that point and hand over back to Daniel to just summarize